Awesome. And can you see my screen? If I try to do a slideshow on here, it just makes it huge. Notes.
Exit it out and then do that option that says presenter view.
It's
I still see the slides. Do you see your notes though?
well, but I have to actually look at a different PDF. So let's see.
Oh.
Can you see the PDF?
No, I can
Okay.
see the course overview, the
Perfect.
slides.
Awesome. Thought Hunter was going to come talk to me for a minute, and he's just back there yakking. Oh, so I guess we'll get started. In Austin, you met Mariah already on Monday. Okay. So, I know her dad, and he introduced us, and so she texted, and I want to do it on Zoom, so I logged in on my Zoom. So I'm going to try and keep both slides going at the same time. My computer like just opened every window. Okay, so what did you guys think about your class on Monday? Did you have any ahas?
That's right. Yep.
Only if, is this Zoom that you're recording on?
Yeah.
Can Mariah jump on that one?
Yeah, she's welcome to in person and then just share the recording. But I mean, if people are on there, welcome to. But yeah.
Well, it's either that or she's on doing double.
Oh yeah, no, then have her jump on that one.
Okay, how?
I'll text her the link.
Okay, Hunter's gonna text you the link. Yeah,
Okay, sounds good.
awesome. Oh. Personal perspectives. So
Yeah,
that one,
so-
those.
Those ones there.
Mhm.
Yeah, pretty simple. That's it.
That's something that we covered today. Mhm. And we'll dive in. Are you licensed?
Yeah, once. Yeah, this is the first appropriate so yeah, for that.
Nice. What made you want to get into real estate?
That's a good time to have the
So have you been doing other stuff in real estate?
yeah.
been a licensed agent for almost 4 years, but I was doing real estate investments full. So, and after I got my license, their team, because of another agent, I wanted to work with her, but then she was primarily focused and so it just ended up being as a team. So I need to go somewhere where I can get the resources. Always thought I would end up at Keller Williams, and then I talked to my brother-in-law, and he had just moved his license here. So I was like, all right, well, I'll check it out, and then I loved it. Yeah, and now I've been here 3 years. I just got my 3-year card in the anniversary. All right, Mariah, did you get on?
Yep, I'm on.
Oh, okay. It used to like show us a little view of people that were on, and so I couldn't tell. That's why you got into real estate.
Are you asking me or Austin? You cut out a bit.
You.
Well, I got into real estate actually mostly from my dad. As you know, I worked with him in the office during my junior year and I did all of his marketing and stuff. And I liked his job. I just didn't like all the paperwork and stuff. I wanted to be out there with the people and show the houses and have that community of the brokerage and stuff. And so that's why I picked being an agent.
Being out there with the people. Hey, well, class on Monday, Mariah.
Say what? I keep getting like the end of your sentences.
See if that's any better. What did you take away from the? Am I still cutting out?
You are a bit. I get what you're asking, what I get from the class on Monday. On Monday, I think my biggest takeaway was to just start and like to just start, literally to just start. And the um the P mindset, I think it was called, having a P mindset versus an E mindset. It was like one of the values that are on the wall with the breakthrough, the ceiling. That was my biggest thing. I want to work and keep working and not get stuck in this box, even though stuck in the box can still look good money wise and stuff like that. I wanna keep going.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. More of that today too. So let's just dive in. If this will work. I don't know. It was change slides. It's just beeping at me. Let me know if you continue to have problems hearing me.
Okay, sounds good. It's not cutting out as of right now, so we're good on
Okay,
that.
good, because yeah, I was trying to listen to the and it sounded like there was a lot of issues with the microphone too, so hopefully that won't continue. This is obnoxious. Hey, mouse worked. But now did I tell you? I got it. And I texted Hunter, we're good.
Oh.
Let's get this thing rolling. Okay, so today, a bit about being a real estate expert and lead gen, lead follow-up, and transactions. Okay, so on Monday, you guys talked about Spark Your Career. I went through all of this, so this is what you, hold on. Okay, so this is what you guys covered on Monday, right? I love how it's changed and grown over the years since I started. Learn more upfront. Oh, here we go. Okay, embrace your job. That's what we're going to talk about. Applying the 6 core competencies of business, recognizing your role as a fiduciary for the success system, and recap, and then let you guys get started on your success system for today. These are the 6 core competencies of a business. That is the word, competencies. So number 1 is lead gen, capture, and what do you guys think?
It's all the marketing, all the door houses and prospecting around those areas. Business.
Absolutely. I'm sure you can't hear that, Mariah. Prospecting, door knocking, to get leads. Okay, so these are going to be the key priorities a real estate agent in order to become a great success and a great agent. Okay, I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything they want me to cover right here. Okay, so having a career in real estate can be being an agent gives you an opportunity to support someone in making one of the most important decisions of their life. And it allows you to live a big life. Behind the big results of successful habits, the steps are small, but they lead back to a big life for you. Day activities. And these are covered in Gary Keller's book, The Shift. So we'll dive into these. So the first appointments, present to buyers and sellers and get agreements. 3, show buyers and market. 4, write and negotiate contracts. 5, coordinate the sale to closing. And 6, manage the money. Number 1, a little bit more. This one is your first, you have no business. That's kind of what Austin was saying. And if we're coming, go from E to P, and you are prioritizing, then the priority is getting this done every day. And it's so easy. Oh, well, let's see, what colors do I want on my business card? And there's a million other things we could. Did you guys talk about the 80-20 rule on Monday? Okay, awesome. So yeah, that's part of your 80%. 20. This kind of activities here would be your 20%. Okay, so you will need to repeat these things over and over again, make them a daily habit. And that's what's the little things over and over again that kind of like it's like gathers more and more snow as it goes. And that's kind of what happens as you do the same things over and over again. It builds to a more that way. So capture means that you're gonna, so that's their first name, last name, phone number, email, and that you really want from every contact, every lead that you have. So if you don't have all of that, then, oh, do you know what? I need your updated email address. Or, you know, one of the services we provide, a newsletter that lets you know what's going on in the neighborhood and to keep you apprised of the market. Home address, so I can make sure I get the accurate area for you. Or you can actually around the holidays, hey, I'm getting my Christmas card list together. What's your home address? And they're send them an invite to, and they can click on it and add their information in there. So that's really fun to get it into your CRM and follow up with them to convert those from just a casual appointment. Do you have any questions on that? Okay, so one of the things about this, I have a database of 4,500 people. It's kind of massive, but I'm not really, I have a ton of their information, but I'm not so good about staying up to date with them and moving it to a, got to build those habits of asking that question and getting into that. Our second one is present to buyers and sellers and get agreements. So once we have the appointments, it's being able to present your skill during the appointment, right? What you're going to talk about, how you in that appointment. So you're telling them, okay, we're going to start from here, and these are the steps through the process. your value, right? You're telling them why you're valuable, how you're going to add value to their life for them. And that's what the presentation part is, so that you can get to the point where you agreement and get them to commit to working with you exclusively. Dude, going into it, that if you are confident going in what you can help them, it goes a long way in getting them to feel comfortable with the conversation, with pay that money. Especially as we're going through this change now, buyers agent agreements, but being able to say, yeah, I'm worth it, and this is why. These are the things that we're and are you ready to put me to work? That's one of my favorite things to say at the end. Are you? But part of it is that I found that if I'm very open with them and say, okay, this look at the buyer broker agreement, it says that the buyer agrees to and it's not just they agree to disclose that you're their agent when they go other places or when other agents ask them, and with you and all these different things. Same thing with sellers, that they are as you are to them. And that's a great way to have a relationship with them, is to build it thing that it's not just you providing a service, but it's a relationship. Okay, number 3, show buyers and market sellers. So funny the way they have that worded up there. Means to go out, obviously, and show homes, which now we have to have that buyer broker agreement. Of showing agreements. So that might work. We'll see how that goes. But being, and if we have the appointment first, then we can narrow it down. So we're not out just showing a million homes, right? Because they can wear you down looking at houses and you're like, well, actually, I don't want this, or I don't want this presentation, where you can narrow down that search. And then as you go through, you ask, living here, is your furniture gonna work here? Can you picture your kids? Or I had one, they were in their house. She wanted a place where all of her grandkids could come, and well, is this where you pick? That is what she wanted, and seriously, that is what sold the house. $1.1 million. So she could get, it was a gorgeous house though. How are you going to get their information out? What kind of channels are you going to do? Guys, having those systems in place. Any questions on? Okay. Right. Number 4, right. Have you guys had a chance to review any of the contracts yet?
Yeah. Got you brokerage where we've gone over kind of the Rhapsody, and I think we've gone over the listing. I could be wrong, but and then there are smaller ones like the wire fraud.
Wire fraud alert. Good.
So nothing crazy. And then I think there's Devon Rhapsody that getting clauses or whatever.
Right. Any other changes? Yeah.
So nothing.
Those are good things to continue to go over, and I think that they'll talk about that in future Ignite classes too. know the contract and can't explain it to them in simple terms, that you can help them through it. But you can feel like you know it, it's come through and be like, well, actually, I'm not sure. Does it say it this way or does it say it that way? And different situations differently. And and kind of opens your mind to other back and go, oh, let me see, how does that work again? But I always picture, I don't know if you guys have ever been to a closing. Little ladies, when they come to the escrow officers and they come in and they sign the paperwork, it's like a huge stack, like especially a buyer has to sign. But those escrow agents are like, okay, well, this page says this and this and this, and they point to it here and sign here and initial here, and they just have like this whole system in place. Hey, come on in. And the Ignite, embrace your job. We start at 9:30. So, okay, what was your name? Josh. I'm Adrienne. Good to meet you too. And have you met Austin before? On Zoom today. So, we're talking about the 6 core competencies, and we're on the contracts. And I was talking about how getting familiar enough with them to be like title companies. So when you go in and paperwork at a closing to the buyers, that on this page, these are the things that it's talking about, says, and this is what your insurance policy is. And they go through all of this and they just have it down. They're just like, bam, bam, we need to have when we talk about contracts with them, that we can even like upside down or sideways, whatever, we can put what this section means. And this is what your responsibilities are. And these are my responsibilities. And this is how this works. And can understand and feel confident with you and with what they're signing. Our KW beliefs is win-win or no deal. So as we're negotiating, we want to make sure that belief, that it's not about taking the other side for every. So you guys have any questions on that? Any thoughts? Mariah, have you read? She probably didn't know I was going to keep asking her questions.
I think I didn't quite catch the end of your question, but were you asking about if I've had the chance to go through contracts and agendas and stuff like that?
Yeah, have you looked through them?
Yeah, so Austin already said some of what we did. We actually sat down with Cameron the other day and we wrote up a pretend offer. We just picked a random house off the MLS. We wrote the whole thing. We picked like our offer price, which was like below asking, and our earnest money and stuff. And then we at the end of that added an addendum about the earnest money, and then we sent him an email like talking up our clients saying they love your house, like here's our offer, da 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 da.
That's awesome.
Writing a contract, let's say, not only do you want to buy, but you also want them to include some type of personal property being like, I don't know, or something like that. Is that just an addendum, or is that a different, or is that something to the contract?
It depends. So there is a line in section 2 that it talks about all the things that are included. So if it was listed already, that then you can put it in there, or it'll say what other things are included that are in a separate bill of not actually part of the contract. It needs to be separate. It can still be, the transaction can still go But the lenders don't want to see all of that in the paperwork. So it's kind of done separately. Because the lender doesn't want to lend on 20,000 additional in a mortgage. That's not what their goal is. But if the house will still appraise, include that in your negotiations, then sometimes you can work it that way where it's just like, and all furnishings are included. It's fully furnished, and it's not a list. And other times there is a list of these are all the items that are included. Question?
The only potential problem there was that, let's say it's like 30 extra $1,000 of stuff and for 400,000, but it's gonna end up being like 430,000.
Mhm.
You would have to put that on a separate bill of sale, basically.
Yeah.
Raise for 430, then you could potentially just list it on the contract. And put it in with the bill.
Not guaranteed on that. It just says, you would, if you had, like the inclusions are all furniture. There is the line in there where you could add that it's part of the offer. That it's the whole thing. But if you negotiate it separate and it's not listed on the MLS that way, bill of sale. But ask Dean. Just go in for our broker, ask him those final questions to make sure. Can too is coordinate the sale to closing. So you wouldn't realize how much work goes into this. Your buyers know all the steps in their due diligence checklist that you had them sign during your buyer presentation. Go back through that. Are you checking off all the things? Have we done all the inspections? We coordinate the inspections for them, schedule it with their sellers. Sometimes you can get that scheduled just through the showing service on MLS, or text them and coordinate schedules that way. And then whether or not you're helping them get through those inspections. And man, when these inspectors, when they're doing their job right, the inspection, and that's a good inspector. But the buyers look at it and go, oh my gosh, all these things. It's like, yeah, but everybody has deferred maintenance where they left the plug cover off of an outlet, half a page on the report, but it's not a big deal, it's 20 cents, whatever, to buy a new cover. And, but it's their job to show you anything that they can visually find and see. So it's talking your sellers through that. Yeah. It's also talking sellers through that kind of stuff if you can do it ahead of time. Through some homes, and they're expensive houses, and sellers want all this money. Yeah, their door jambs are dirty, and the baseboards are dirty, and everything then just feels grimy. And the buyers are like, "Well, I don't know. All I needed was to spend $150 on a good cleaner, and they wouldn't have that problem." And giving them the perspective, the other side, and how that works. But that's going through this whole process. So in their inspections, it's letting the seller know, okay, this is where they are in the process. They get all this time to do this, and they're going to look for to disclose anything that they know that has been done to the property. And then letting the buyers know that that's just something that they're acknowledging. And warranty, you're just signing to say that you received these disclosures, but then going through those with them, what they mean, what kind of things maybe happened, whether or not you need to check and see if an addition was Because if it wasn't, sometimes the cities will make you take it down. And not everyone wants to buy a house where it wasn't permitted. Okay, our sixth thing, I don't like to just talk. So our sixth one is manage the money. Okay, and this one you getting your paycheck, right? And you're so excited. Yes, I finally have this money. I've seen agents, but especially investors, and they get that first paycheck and they're out there, oh, I'm going to go buy or whatever, and they want to show that they're successful. And that's not really the responsible. And that first paycheck can be big because it's all at once. But you have to remember that you have quarterly. So you need to set aside money for that. You should set money aside to put back into expenses. And that you have those attention, and then kind of keep track of how much you're spending on different things so you know, well, every transaction, whether that's your closing gifts, your pop buys or marketing materials, printing, anything like that, anybody that you might hire to help, like pass out flyers, they might do, and just kind of figuring that out so you can track that. That's the way to move from E to P. Did you learn about the E to P? Okay, that's moving from an entrepreneurial mindset to a purpose. It's about, hey, I own a business and now I got to do everything my own way, but it's like being purposeful. This is what I do with my time. This is what I do with my I don't know where it's going or where it needs to go, then we can't plan for future expenses and taxes and things like that. So then we find ourselves scrambling later. Yes, go ahead.
Mentioning like closing. The thing is like an appropriate amount to spend on closing gifts. Does it depend on like the house? Might be different than like a condo, potentially, or
on that. Some people do the same thing for everybody. They'll just do a little gift basket or whatever, like a housewarming. I've been all over the place with it. I have my first clients, I did a big they did a sell and a buy with me. And so that's when they moved into their new house. I got them. But I've also been, as I've gone further along, building more relationships with them and finding in there. And I remember back when we bought a house, we had moved to California. And the agent we had when we came back bought us a refrigerator. That's it. Because it didn't come with it was a spec home. So it was like a new build. That was the only thing it still have that fridge today. It still works great. And that was 17 years ago. A big deal. And it was a $400,000 house back in the day. Her side. And I've seen agents on message boards, they're like, why are we giving we're doing the work? And they have a different mentality about it, that that's not what they do. So it is that's come up, but it's, I don't know, another way to say thank you for the business because you did make probably a good chunk of money. What I've been doing lately is Cutco, personalized Cutco, or there's a message on there from me. Because that knife in the kitchen, or every time they see it, they can think of me. They're red handled, so that was originally why Cutco did the red handles, was because there were so many agents that have done that. And so every day they see it, yeah. And that's that constant reminder that you can't get that really any other way all the time. So, but those aren't cheap either. So when you're starting out, something big, and that's okay. But then just figuring out what feels right. Like I've paid for a home warranty before. So on those 6 perspectives. Okay, talk a little bit about mindset. And every agent will probably say this is the hardest, keeping your mind in the right place, because it is easy to overthink things, find yourself caught off guard, and then or just not want to do work that day. Oh man, I have all this craziness going on, or you think it's going to be an easy day, and then the phone starts. That inspection didn't go well, or that pipe burst on our listing, and now we've got to clean up this mess. And but that's part of the excitement of the job too, is being able to stay calm and help your clients through that. But it's preparing your mind every day. If you think about that, every morning you have your affirmations, and preparing your mind every day for whatever it is that you're going to do will really help on top of that, so that you can stay positive, stay focused, and help you to stay strong. Okay, so let's go over the 6 personal perspectives again. Remember any of those besides the E to P? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe she's not right there. Okay, so they're on the wall over here. Mastery. So that is definitely a big one on the mindset, right? That we got to overcome and discipline ourselves. Being able to, that we're committed, that we can do this, right? And then there's the 80-20 principle. I don't know if you've heard that before, but that's the parade. 20% of the things that you do produce 80% of your results, and 80% of the things that you can do results. So figuring out what that 20% is and focusing more on that is going to help build you going. Moving from E to P, that's the entrepreneurial perspective versus the purposeful. Being learning based, being in your business to growing your business. It's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day things of the, and say, okay, well, what do I really need to do to get from having just this one transaction actions? What is it I need to change in my day, whatever. The next one is, again, that's always knowing that there's something else to learn, that you can learn from any experience. To do is to have a journal of your transactions and write down the things that you're learning back and go, oh, I learned this from that transaction. I don't want to do that again. Or yes, whatever kind of things that are going to help you down the road. But I have loved that, like learning from other intelligent about keeping track of those lessons that they've learned from each transaction. And there's times where I'm like, oh, I learned that and I made the same mistake again. Number 5 is remove the limiting beliefs, as we've been kind of, I've been trying to work with my kids on this. I have 2 teenagers, and need it as much as they do. But getting the mindset that when those limiting beliefs come in us, so I compared it to like my kids teaching them, are you gonna ever do drugs? Are you ever drink? Okay, so are you gonna go out there and watch porn? Are you gonna do these things? No, okay, so when those thoughts enter your mind that, oh, maybe I should try it this one time, or this friend's pressuring you to do that, you already know thoughts, those limiting beliefs come in that you're like, nope, I'm not even gonna give it time. And you just push it out of your mind. Like, no, I'm worth it. I can do this. And trying to change that belief, like, no, I'm not gonna do that. My body's or whatever, and same kind of thing, protecting ourselves that way. And then number 6 is being accountable, which is just what we see everywhere. The victim, oh, poor me. Media, that's what it shows everybody can do, right?
5 and 6 kind of tie into each other. They all kind of to tell themselves like, hey, I'm only capable of making $100,000 in commissions. Well, why? I can do it because if I put the work, then I'm being accountable. Not letting something happen so that I can't.
Yep. Yep, that's my son's favorite one. Oh, but mom, it's your fault. You didn't let me do X, Y, Z. Like, seriously? Like, you gotta be accountable. I think sometimes I'm over accountable and for their part in it, but there's a good book about that, oh. Something accountability. It'll come to me. Yeah, extreme accountability, something like that. Yeah. That's like everything, so much influence over things. You might not control everything, but you have influence, and what you choose to do and how you react change your experience and how you look at it, and being accountable to yourself for that part of it too. Okay, any thoughts or questions on why adopting the 6 personal perspectives is going to help you be nothing? Well, I think that as we continue to grow, and that's one of the things I love about Keller Williams, is all the values that they have and all the lessons that they learn are to help us be better people. That's a bonus. And I feel like that when we're better people, we make the world around us, the whole experience better. It allows the agent on the other side to have a better experience, and their client has a better experience. And just staying up on that kind of stuff. Okay, so in Gary Keller's book, Shift Potential, these 6 core competencies must be done consistently and done well. Let's think about that.
Where it said that you can have a lot of great attributes, lack a lot of great attributes, like patience, hardworking, blah, blah, blah. You can get away with, so if you wanted to make your business fail, lacking any number of core competencies, and your business would succeed as long as consistency is at least there. You know, like, I'm trying to phrase it right. If you're being consistent going to succeed eventually. You cannot say that with everything else, if consistency is not.
Right, yeah. If consistency isn't there, it's harder to succeed, even if you're really talented at talking to people. Them. If you're not consistent in making your calls, is it going to work? If you're not consistent at following up with them, or whatever your chosen, if you're not consistently door knocking or sending out your postcards, whatever it is, if you're not consistent with that, if you're not consistent with your role play and your script practice, yeah, it's understanding and explaining the contracts, all of that kind of stuff. But if you're not consistently doing it, then yeah, it's harder for your job to. Mariah, any thoughts on that?
I think I caught most of everything. I'm not quite sure what other people have said, but for sure consistency is key. I mean, I see a lot of people in our brokerage, they're consistent in lots of different ways. So you just have to find what works for you, because some people do a lot of open houses, some people do a lot of door knocking, some people are really good with social media. You just have to find out what works for you.
Absolutely. And then do it consistently. The other team I was on was done is better than perfect. So if you're posting every day, even if it's real ever, or the post that looks the best, or the pictures, but you're doing it, hey, people are still rhythms care about is that you're consistent more than anything else. Okay, so any other ahas you guys want to write down or talk or share about right now? Okay, we're going to dive into this other really awesome part, the functionary versus fiduciary. Or do you know the difference?
Stab at them, say, like, doing the job functionary, like, process, just doing it, versus fiduciary, like, doing it the best way possible for the club. So to a higher level, so that you're giving them the best service versus just going through the motions.
That going through the motions and just doing the basics is functionary, versus what's best for your client is fiduciary. Any other thoughts on that? So we're going to take it a little further than that. And it is, part of it's a mindset, right? That it is about just doing the basics versus I'm trying to figure out what it is that's going to be the win-win for both sides. So let's imagine doing business with a company, for example, a car repair company that doesn't focus on getting the job done and getting paid. They don't build a relationship with you or stay in touch during the job or after the job. And let's imagine another car repair company that one listens to your needs, helps you make decisions, educates you on the process, acts like a partner in the process, keeps you up, and even follows up with you after the job. Which one do you think is functionary and which? Right. Which one would you? Second one. Me too. And it's true. We find that in a lot of places, right? And don't frequent the places where they're more fiduciary, where they really care about us and building that relationship. In The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Gary explains a functionary is one who has a relationship with their clients. They do the job, while a fiduciary is one of the job. They are also in a high trust relationship with their clients and feel total responsibility. This is especially important in real estate when we're making the most of a very expensive, just transactional, then it does not make the experience good. It doesn't build that. And man, when you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, people want that peace of mind. That decision they're making is good, that the house is the one that they want, and that they're not overpaying. For a lot of people, I want to make sure I'm getting a deal. Well, define what a deal is and making sure that we're helping them. It's not about selling the house to them. It's helping them feel confident that it is what they need it to be. But it's placing our client's interest above our own. So it might be that maybe this isn't the right house, which may mean we don't get paid because we didn't close the deal. Bills I gotta pay, but it's gotta be in their best interest. To that win-win, no deal, win-win or no deal, right? If the transaction does not benefit the client, so being a fiduciary is a big deal, and it's an responsible for their financial well-being too, that can be full of peace of mind, that's affordable to them. You've got them strapped into a house where they're so house poor that they can't enjoy the rest of their life. And is that really the right mindset? But being able to educate them and show them that you're not just trying to upsell them to a bigger, more, but that it's the right thing for them and their family at that time. Says it wants us to do this activity where we divide into groups of 5. So that's not going to work. So we're going to try and work on this together then. Some ways that we can act as a fiduciary for you. So we'll just go through all the different core competencies, and let's just brainstorm as a functionary. So in the first one, let's see if there's a slide for this. So our first core competency was to lead generate, capture, and convert to appointments. How can we, when we do that?
Asking what they want, they need, and I think be the person that's gonna help them get whatever it is they're comfortable with.
They want what they need and helping them get that. Yeah, anticipating what it is, bringing that value, lead generating, and you're calling your friends and family and you're checking on them and you're telling them how the market's going. Hey, you're considering selling. Well, what else can I find out that's going to help them to find peace of mind or to realize whether or not it's the right, or maybe you don't sell. Maybe you rent out your place and buy another one. So now you have this other stream of income, build legacy wealth. Those kind of things, okay? But That's your mind. Even when you're posting on social media, if you think about your SOI and who might see this, well, all right, well, if you know that a bunch of the people are young, maybe first-time value to first-time home buyers, and you find anything that you can, any article that talks about it, anything about grant that these people need, and you're providing that value. That was a great example. Awesome. Okay, number 2, and get agreements. So how can you be a fiduciary when you're presenting to them your consultations?
A lot of this is about like, here's what I'm going to give you, here's what I'm going to buy, here's what I'm going to expect. To be able to have the goals that you set out.
I love that. Setting expectations and meeting those. Okay. How else can we be a fiduciary when we're in these consultations and getting the agreements signed? So let me ask it a little different way. Why industry? Why did we get sued? Why are we in this settlement right now? Now, not being a fiduciary. They're not, when they're sitting down with them and explaining the contract that people are signing, that when I say I charge this, I'm paying the buyer's agent this. We even talked about that on our team call. We have a team call every morning for 30 minutes. I was hiring a listing agent in Georgia, and they talked about the commissions and and she sent the 3.5 and giving the buyer's agent 2.5. And he's like, well, wait a minute, that's not what we talked about. And that's exact. There's a settlement because there's too many times where people are uncomfortable diving into it, and you just have to, it is. And if you're not telling them, then they don't know how they're spending their money, and now they don't have trust. And if they don't have trust, that's definitely a big one when it comes to getting the agreement signed. And another one of the things that we like to say that Clay Winder has taught us when we go into our appointments. How honest do you want me to be with you? And it just right there, you know, that, well, we want you to be a 10, totally honest with us, right? Oh, dead cats. And we can't have that, or it's not going to sell for the price, you know, those kind of things. So you're able to help them. But setting, like you said, setting that expectation. Well, here's the expectation. I'm going to be brutally honest. You want to get the top dollar, this is how we're going to do it. Okay, number 3, when and marketing sellers' homes. How can you be a good fiduciary? Yeah.
I think, or what do you think? Here's my thing. I guess it also comes down to showing people all of the things that their criteria versus, you know, looking for ones where you're going to pay most.
Right. Definitely. There was a way to kind of weed things out based on agent commissions before, and that's not going to happen in, or only picking homes that you feel like meet their needs, and to a point, that's our responsibility. I found after showing homes for years now that what I think they want is not necessarily going to houses, and I'm like, oh man, this is, I would not buy this house. And they fall in love with it. All right. And that's okay. It's not about my opinion. And for a long time, I thought that was, well, I have all this expertise. I've seen all these houses. Not that. And so you have to, follow my opinion on it. And it's not about that. It's about me. And then marketing sellers homes. Being honest when you're marketing, right? So going back to being honest.
Not trying to be the nice guy, with regards to disclosures. Something happened here, you need to put that down, otherwise it's gonna come back to it. Like,
Right, yep.
even if the number of sale in their best interest and your best interest long term. But then being, I guess, realistic with them instead of just about oh yeah, I think I can get this home sold in no time. Yeah, whatever price you want, just to get the saying, based on the CMAs that I've done, this place is probably the price of there. They'll probably sell market for a long time, and then just leveling with that. This is going to be consequences here. You do everything you can to get them what they want, but try to just being open and earning their trust because of how saying what they don't want to hear.
Exactly. Yep, I'm just reiterating some of what you guys say. But it's being honest with them, sometimes blunt with your sellers that maybe because it's not going to end up selling as fast or getting the result they want, and just being totally that. And I will tell you, there are times where that is so hard to tell your clients that they are, and times where you just have to let them learn the hard way too. They're like, nope, has to be this price, and it just sits and sits and sits and sits and sits, and you're just like, well, want to buy your house if it's overpriced, and or because you didn't take my advice and paint it this $3,000 less, and it could have cost you only $5,000 to paint it the way I told you to, and you ended up with that. And seriously had that experience. She wanted the 3-tone paint, and it was the early 2000 color trim and white ceilings, and she paid to have them come in and redo it, 3-tone paint. No, this is not what people want now, and it's not. And everybody came in like, and then the first thing they did when they bought the house, they painted it. So that's funny, but that happens. And they ended up selling for a lot less than they were. And I think but we are obedient to them, right? But it is our fiduciary duty to the best that we can. And from our experience, these are the things that are going to help it the most. But if we're not saying it and we're just letting them guide it, or we think we have all the answers and we're doing it with being a good fiduciary. Okay, so go ahead.
There's like a common sense is probably the answer here, but could you like make a poll on Facebook? This color for this hallway, like, or this living room, what the best, if you're in a dispute with your clients about it, then just let the people decide, what I mean? But yeah, hopefully clients are boneheaded a lot, but would something like that help them see reason, or are they just gonna do what they're gonna do?
Sometimes will help. Sometimes they think other people don't really know. Their opinion matters. So it's long with them about it, right? Just say, oh, you know what? This might be a fun way to do it. What if we both put a poll up on our social, and I'll get it ready and you can post it and we can post it and we'll just see what the results are. The other way to do it is when you have that they have a little form that they fill out. What do you think about the wall colors? Or what is this, you know, what is it showing well? Specific questions, or you follow up with those that came to the open house and you're calling, hey, what did you think of the house? Is it your color? Is it not? Worth it if the color was different? So that's another way to do it. And they can still paint it after, but then you're paying again usually for pictures. But we've done that too. So, but I think that preemptively ahead of time, where you've done polls like that on social media and or you see what's going on, what else is on the market, especially what their competition is. So if you've done a CMA and for more money, and this is the colors that they were. These homes took longer to sell, and look at the colors. And that's generally a good way to show them more specifically about the advantage to making those changes. What either. So. And our last one. No, did we get into negotiating contracts? Right? Fiduciary there. Okay, do you guys remember what the rule job is, as it says in the description on the buyer broker agreement, what our job is? There's 6 things. Remember what that is? Obedience, loyalty, disclosure, reasonable care. That's one of them. Accountability.
Reasonable care they are.
Yeah, I think. No, I forgot. I thought I had it right here, but why? It'll come to me in a minute. Confidentiality, that's just thinking over here. So perfect. That's how we're when it comes to negotiating contracts, that we're being confidential with our clients' information. Judgment, our intuition that way. But we're being honest with them. We're disclosing everything we and helping our clients end up with a house that has a problem that we could have figured out. Or through that negotiating, and why, if we negotiate this way, I've had clients that are like, oh, we just can't do this or this price. And I've taken some negotiation classes, and one of my favorite ones is we offer a price, the dollar, right? So it's $523,000. $528,298. So then it feels like we've calculated this is what we can afford. And that's what I tell the other agent, this is what we can afford. And we hope the other side, like, all right, well, now, not doing it in a way that like I'm not trying to take one over on people, but when we're just trying to make things work, so that there's strategies like that. Well, what if we did this? And it works. Okay, now number 5, coordinating the sale of to closing. How can you be a good fiduciary? Okay, so think about due diligence.
Thing, just like keeping them on track.
Mhm.
List that needs to be done by the time.
Yep. Lose their earnest money, right? So these are when the deadlines are. Hey, this one's coming up in a couple more days. Do you have any other inspections you want to about? We want to do negotiations to lower the price because the roof needs to be done, or we found out that the AC is now. Now's the time to negotiate that before that deadline is here. Ensure that anytime you recommend a third party, like an that they're hopefully it's somebody that's trustworthy, right? I had an agent before I inspector come and do it, and he was cheap. He did not do a good job. Even when we said, oh, well, I found these things, they weren't in the report. And there were things that we pointed out that weren't in the report. And then there were things in the report that was a mess. And I'm like, I can't do this. So I went and hired another inspector, and we quotes on all of those repairs because it was a long list. And we got $40,000 off. And this was in the middle of insane. And the agent was like, are you sure you want to ask for all of this? Because there were 9 other offers after yours. I can't get this, it's not worth it to me. And they didn't bat an eye. They're like, yep, let's do it. They knew it needed with it. So that agent was not necessarily being a good fiduciary. I think he thought he was by getting a cheaper inspector, you know, oh, this will be better for your budget. I'm like, yeah, but ultimately. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the 6th core competency. So there's a few things about this, both for the clients and for our own so when we talk about how we can be a fiduciary for our client money, what are some ideas that come to mind for you guys? Yep, make sure that earnest money's turned in. Hard never to take any of that myself. But this is the fastest way. We have an app for that. Yeah, but you're going to pay more. You're going to be more stressed if it doesn't make it. If you put it in the mail, write a check, or you drive us, it's cheaper to just pay the fee to wire it. Things like that can. Something like that. Yep. So there's someone such a high dollar purchase if they can't manage their own finances. Finances will make us feel more confident with ourselves, right? Which show our clients that we can be trusted, but it's kind of like missions with our clients. And well, so-and-so agent said he would do it for 1%. No, because I know I'm worth this and I'm going to do XYZ to earn it. To drop his commission to 1% just like that, how is he going to negotiating the price of the home? I'll just roll over and be like, okay, you want it for less? You know, or is he going to be there to fight for your best interest? Guys, remember if you were here and you guys we talked about should have talked about the WI4C2. Anybody remember what that is? Nope. It's the win-win or no deal, right? 4 C's.
I was encouraged things. Honestly,
Yep.
equities,
Equity opportunities for all. Mhm. People, creativity, communication, commitment, customers, teamwork. Yep. And if we follow that, it will help us. So how do you think being a good fiduciary can take you from being a agent?
like kind of give others as you have up to you, like telephone everyone not to do this thing. So I might as well do that for my clients.
I like that.
Pretty simple, like, you can be a really good business person and nobody likes you. Or maybe because you're super rough around the edges, nobody's gonna give you.
Mm-hmm.
However, get a lot of them, treat them like takes you to the next level and keeps you back.
Yeah.
Business, I hope, makes you great.
Yeah. So not only having good skills, but but said not be rough around the edges, not rub people the wrong way. Being able to treat them well, help them feel take you to the next level. I kind of think about it like with doctors. There's some that have good bedside manner and some that don't. Nope, this is how it is. I'm in, I'm out, it's all business. And there's others that sit there and they talk to you. And my husband has one and keeps going back to this doctor, and we hate the clinic, but we love the doctor. Up and she broke her foot at our house, and we even took her to him, and he is just so great. We'll walk into the office, says hi, and Freak, he even told us he saw us on at the rodeo. We were Salt Lake one, and he was up in the stands and told my husband he had seen him there. And like, what kind of doctor? That's a good fiduciary. That's somebody who really cares. You're going to the next level. That's somebody you want to go back to, not somebody that. Okay, so take a moment. I want you to think about, jot down any ahas that you guys have. And then we're going to go into the successes. So I'll give you just a couple minutes to do that. Hey, anybody have an aha they want to share? Patient, fiduciary versus a functionary.
I have an aha. I really liked when we talked about the consistency thing, but also when we were just talking about how we can capture those leads and keep them relevant and keep in touch with them. I think that's really important because right now, as new agents, I feel like for me at least, it's really hard to. Sorry, what? You keep cutting out.
We didn't say anything. We're just listening.
Okay. Um, but yeah, I feel like for me, especially as a new agent in the position I'm in personally, I feel like it's really hard to get those leads or anything with my SOI. So it's a good reminder from you that once you get them, you need to really keep relevant with them, and if I get fortunate to have 4,500 people or whatever in my database like you have, I feel like if you build the habit from the start to stay in touch, it'll help you out a lot with the 80/20.
Absolutely. I love that. It's a great aha. All right. Did you guys talk about the success system at all? Okay. Well, we're going to dive into that. Okay. A big an impact on it as the number of leads you have. Gary Keller said that in A Millionaire, which is a great book to read over and over again. So much of what we teach here, I'll call it the Red Bible. So as we've already is lead generation. Without leads, your business cannot sustain itself. In estate agent, he says, what you have to embrace is the fact that it is the number of qualified grow your business, keep your business, or put you out of business. Nothing else about your business will have as big of an impact of leads you have. So kind of like Mariah was saying, is that if they're not in there and you're not, then your business can't go anywhere. If you're not talking to people, it doesn't just yep. That's another thing that you'll probably hear a lot, that they say that there's really two parts. You're a real estate agent, but really you're a marketer. That's your number one job. You're marketing yourself, you're marketing your business, that kind of thing. But if you're not out marketing, then you're not getting clients and leads. So, well, I feel like we've kind of already gone over this, but why is it so essential to the success of your business?
Right. I've owned a business for about 10 years. And on the times that it's really good, you're like, oh, this is amazing. So many sales. And all of a sudden it starts fizzling out, and you go through the downturn where you don't have as many leads. And maybe during the time where it was really awesome, you didn't follow up with people the way you should have, but things slipped through the cracks. So I don't want to stop cultivating leads ever, in the good times or the bad times. The bad times you really have to grind, but the good times I can treat it like it's a bad time.
I love that. Yeah. So any business right? Sometimes it's good and it's easier, and sometimes it's harder, and but being able to treat it like it's hard all the time will be. I appreciate that. So although lead generation is important priorities you have when running and growing a thriving business, sometimes they feel uncomfortable, especially when you're a new agent, right? You might be like, well, I don't have any experience. Why are they going to want to work with me? Whatever other fun thoughts that sneak in to give us doubts. So-and-so could do it better. And I get in my head, well, they really should hire so-and-so. They're a better agent than I am. Wait a minute, but I know that even if they do more production or whatever, it doesn't mean that they're better prepared. So feeling at ease when talking to people you know and don't help them with their real estate needs is a skill that takes time to develop. One of the best ways to feel more comfortable communicating, role playing, and practicing the most common conversations and objections, right? So an objection is interest rates are too high. What is it about interest rates that are too high? What does that mean? And being able to have the questions are even better to figure out why they're feeling that way, because somebody said something that's not really true. But if you just jump in and say, well, actually, blah, blah, you might be giving them an answer that has nothing or that they care about. But it's that role play. And it becomes easier to say it and do what you need. And then to have an account. So you guys are gonna get some accountability partners. You need to figure that out. Group, they would ask us to have you guys pair up and find an accountability partner. So that could be one of the other people going, one of the other agents in here. You could even pick another agent that's in the office here and build a relationship with them, and you sit down and you make your goals, and these are my goals. And then every week you have to report back. This is what I've done. Ability, yes, I'm doing it, or no, I'm really not. What else can I do? What, how can I be more accountable? Put money on the line. Like if I don't do all of these things this week, then I'm going to pay $100. Just got to hurt enough. $100. Yeah, okay. I won't do it. Only $100. On accountability.
My thought is that something along those lines, 1099, anything like that. It's really easy when you not doing it. And then maybe that turns into a week. You have somebody that's like checking in with you, like, hey, what do you do? Did you have to pick up that's going to cold loop? It pushes you for the sake, especially if it's somebody that's like that you care about, like somebody like a Clay or something like that. It's like, hey, these are the things that we expect from you.
What are you gonna do? Yep.
It's shit-based.
And it's ultimately it's your business. So if you're not doing it, you're having that person that you're accountable to. Now you have to actually admit it that you said you were gonna do. And why did your excuses become more important than your goals? Let's see. So think of accountability as a process. It is difficult to maintain drive over the long term, but to an objective observer, it becomes easier to stay focused. Accountability is about getting an input You must take time on a regular planned basis to meet with whomever it is holding you accountable to look at your numbers. And it's really good to sit down, like we have a sales manager, Cody, on our team, and it's good to sit down with him. And our goal was to have this many appointments and you only had this many. So why is there a gap? Well, what make enough calls on this day or this day? So maybe that was it. And how can I, or I need to change the time when I make this time, and or my kids are interrupting and those kind of things, and try to figure out what that is and work around that. Or if it's you're just yourself and you're not really taking the time to as much as you would if you had somebody to as a soundboard, somebody to talk it over with or to be accountable to. Accountable people achieve results others can only dream of. Partner. So when you are somebody's accountability partner, whether it's you guys that want to pair up to get somebody else, you want to make sure that you've provide a safe place to share so that you trust each other. You're not out there information. Oh, so-and-so, he said he's going to do this and he never does anything. That's not going to help motivate any accountable. You want to follow through with action items from both sides. Hey, I will follow up with you in 3 days. And you follow up with how did it go so far? Are you keeping up with it? Are you behind already? Listen and pay attention to each other. A frequency of checking in with each other. Like how often are we going to talk to each other? For some, at the beginning, it was like every morning. Yesterday, what are you going to do today? And then you can do your role play at the same time. Sometimes that's advantageous, holding you accountable. Dig deep to find out why you do the things you do. So why, again, what is it that's causing that to happen? Respect each other in the process. To it. Be open to receiving feedback. I think that one's huge, right? Like, don't tell me that I'm open to that, then you're not that open-minded, you're not learning based, right? You want to be learning based. And they give specific and have each other's best interest in mind. So I want you guys to take a minute, could ask to be your accountability partner. Write those names down. And then write down a time when you can ask them if they will be. Hey, did you guys all pick or two that you could ask? Okay, so by next week, I want you to send Cameron a message and let him know who it's going to be and how often you are going to and be accountable. Fast system is, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. Oh, hold on. But before we get into that, it wanted me to give you some other questions to ask as so in the coming days, each time you check in with your accountability partner, here are the questions you can How did you do? How do you feel about that? Do you have any opportunities for improvement? How will you address those opportunities? What were your wins? And how will you celebrate your win? So to get started, just start by sharing your current business, and then it'll move into this as you get further into that as your goals. But this is where it wants us to take time to do. Another important duty of an accountability partner is to role play conversations every day. Be certain to set up a time to do this. Good morning, I said that already. Take turns being the agent or the client. Expand your confidence with asking the Ford questions. Have you guys gone over the Ford questions? Do you know what those are? Yes. So you ask about family, recreation, and dreams. Those dreams could be, yep, kind of like that. Work. How's that working out for you? By asking that, it's very easy for them to come back and say, what are you doing for work? No, I just got into real estate. I would love to be your go-to agent. Can I follow up with you and let you know what's going on? I wish I had known that when I first started. But recreation, you know, what are you in? Yeah, have any hobbies? You know, I just learned to play pickleball. You ever done that? What other things are you and kids up to? And then dreams. What are your goals for this year? SOI, and that's a good one, you know. What is it you're hoping for to achieve this year? What's the best way? And then following up with them on that too. It makes for great conversations. See if this has it. All right. That's not a slide that I have. Start with your sphere. Okay, so that's just talking about the Ford method, I think. Here's your success system. If you haven't seen it before, but this is the goal. And if you can get consistent with this, your business will thrive. So you want to have, and then it has a little line there. So if you, like take a picture of it, you want to add it out or make your own book. So 10 conversations, 10 contacts added to your database, 10 handwritten notes. Engagement, it's 10, 5, 1. And who remembers what that is? One direct message. Yeah, so 10 likes, 5 comments, 1 direct message. One of many types of systems that you could use for social media. Engagement on there, that's not about your posting, right? You need to make sure that you don't you put something out there and then, especially if it's an engaging post, well, what do you think about this or this, you know, this paint color, this paint, this house style or that house style, which would you rather? And then you don't respond, you should respond to everybody. If that's your method of prospecting. So, and then keeping track of this. If you're not tracking your numbers, you don't where's your time going? Where can you improve? If you're not, oh yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I did 10 calls every day. And then if you actually look back and you're like, oh, actually 5 people total this week. It's about keeping track of that and knowing if you're not tracking it, you can't know where you are. I engage every conversation and people are happy to be in relationship with me. This is a really great affirmation to say before you start. People want to hear from me. I'm calling because I have value to give to them. People answer the phone when they know that you're going to bring something to the table and that you're not just calling to get something. Isn't that why we hate telemarketers? Because they just want something. You put the focus on the other person, show that you care, and it puts them at ease. Hey, you know, I really do want to just check in with you. How's the family? How's work? And then let it evolve into the business part. Just reminding you that I'm in real estate. Let me give you some information about this or that. Did you know up? Or there's this builder and they have all these incentives. Do you know anybody that's looking for an investment property? Sometimes it's a team. We have at least four big events every year. We do 20,000 Easter egg, a petting zoo and games and whatever. It's a 3-hour event. People come and hang out. Well, it gives us lots of time. We get to call them and invite them. We can follow up with them after and say, oh, we missed you, or I didn't see you. Did you make it? Opportunities, but you're adding value by inviting them. From contribution, is giving them something that, you know, especially if they want to do stuff with their family. Have a singles night where you guys go to the park and play. What do single people do nowadays? I've been married for 26 years. I don't know. Or I have some like this, I guess an example. Well, I got laid off. Oh, okay. Well, guess you're not buying a house anytime soon. It's not what I'm going to say out loud, but what can I do to this guy? And I know that he's hiring. Or can you send me your resume? Because I am always networking and I'm happy to take it and do this. This is one I love networking. I hate making phone calls. I love face-to-face with people. Meet people, the better I am at growing my business that way. Okay. So it's just method. Okay, so the second activity on the daily success tracker is adding 10. So if you guys are starting in Command, it is a great program to use. Agent, but being able to put that information in there, making sure you have first and last name, phone number, email. Those are the main things. I also am big on birth dates and ask people, when's your birthday? Or find out when it is, and I make sure it's in my contacts. Well, now these systems, Google has this way of now I have on my calendar when their birthday is. And so every day I have 2 to 10 people. My husband sends out 10 cards every day. We subscribe to a system called Send Out Cards, and comfortable to be able to do that. And almost every day we get people responding to us. Thank you so much. All the time. Opens more conversations, right? Oh, great. Well, what are you guys up to now? Oh, yeah, those donors, they still like us. They're nice people. They thought of me. Okay, so that kind of goes into the 10 handwritten notes. Those can be, thanks for taking time to have a conversation for lunch, or thanks for sharing with me about XYZ, or thanks for the referral. Those are a lot of good thank yous. So those are good notes, right? It could just be, did you know that XYZ and it changed my life? Or you did this thing for me. And being very thoughtful. All of these things fall into your prospecting time every day. When they say to have 2 to 3 time, writing your notes, that's in that time. That can be part of that. It doesn't have to be an additional. But that handwritten note shows people you because a text, hey, thanks, is not the same message as being able to receive a note. But that's another, hey, I wanted to send you a card. What's your address? Use that one all the time, and that's a good way to get there. Address, and sometimes because that's easier to find. But it is a great habit to get into, and people really appreciate it. What other ahas or thoughts do you guys have on the success system? We used to call it the 10-4, previewing 10 homes. Now it's social media. But what was on that list here?
Awesome. All of a sudden now you're real big into calling. But if you can bring something, whatever that little thing may be, invite to something.
Yeah, absolutely. So Hunter talks about that too, that, that sometimes like, hi, I'm just calling to say hi. Well, that's one of the things that Keller Williams teaches is the care call. That's what because I just thought of you, want to know how you're doing. I'll see stuff on social media. Child passed away, or their spouse, or they were in an accident, or something happened, or it's good news. That's another. Find the links to their social media, and in your CRM, the command will do that. You can click on the link to their Facebook post. Oh, you got a new dog. Tell me, how is it? Are they peeing everywhere? Is the training go? And specific and relevant to their life. And that alone is a contribution because you're giving them that outlet. That joy that they're having, or struggle, it might be. Those were great options, great suggestions. But yeah, those first calls, you would call, he had tickets, extra tickets to some event. And he's like, I was calling everybody. Is it easy? Like, hey, do you want these? No, but thank you for thinking of me. I would have loved that, but we already have something else. Now you look like this or something. That's one of the things sometimes one of the agents on our team had said before, like, even if never has, knock on wood. But the time we took to call everybody and invite them check on them when we did that kind of thing. We're already adding value just by that. And my husband started a practice last year where he would call people, what about whatever it was, whether it was his other business or real estate, or because they called us, it's like, what that you could use help with? It's your biggest thing that would just, if that was solved, would help you business, personal, whatever. And people would just like open up with things. And then for them and help them. So I started doing this. My sister-in-law, we found out my nephew, 5-year-old nephew, has cancer, had metastasized already. And he was just about to start chemo. I called her, said, what's one thing you guys really need right now? She's like, well, our fridge leaked. Now I'm pretty sure we have fixed before he starts going through chemo, because then his immune system isn't as strong. And I literally called one of my, he does restoration and remodel. I'm like, can you go give him a quote? Go just see, I'll even split the cost with you, whatever. He paid for the whole thing, did the whole job. And that's a lot of work to cut rid of the mold the right way and just made everything better. But it was just like this huge burden for them, for him or for me, right? It was, but for her and his and their son's life, that was a big deal, right? Having other people in mind, and wasn't a lot of time on my side to help out. Way to add value in a conversation. About what the schedule's like for you guys when you first get started here now, and you have your 2 hours of learning to execute your success system. So that's kind of what this is here. Enrichments, like your podcasts, books, other trainings that you do. EO is a good podcast. That's by Gary Keller. They have The One Thing. I think does one, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Those are all really great for fundamentals. We like to listen to Ed Milet. My husband will listen to him every morning. He's a lot of fun. He family reunion last year. We had Tony Robbins and Mel Robbins. But anything that you can do to just, even if they're affirmations, right? You're listening to where you can watch the videos or just listen to them where they give all these uplifting thoughts and they have the good music in the background or what or get in the right frame of mind, and all of that counts. And then you have your time for your appointments, and any paperwork along the way and closings. So that's all part of your success. The role playing can be in this time. That's part of accountability call. You do your 10-20 minutes worth of role playing, and then you just jump right in. Hey, I've already practiced what I'm just dialing, and I have to not think about it. If I sit and think about it, oh, I gotta call, then I'm thinking about it, and just pick up the phone and dial that number. Then I'm good. You're gonna make me end? Are you ready? I ran chatting. So. I don't know.
Yes, commitment, so she needs to go.
Well, not to mention work. But
Guys, Friday, that's the Friday teacher.
awesome. Okay. Any other questions, thoughts on this? Okay. Well, you guys are awesome. accountability partner and send that message to Cameron so he knows and he can follow up with you too. And I'm Adrienne Donner. I can give you my number if you want. Or it's Adrienne@donnerteam.com. So you guys are awesome. Thanks for being here. Bye, Mariah.
Are you on Craig's team?